Welcome to Veteran Uncensored. I'm Chris Rodriguez, your host for today. Breaking. Tucker Carlson just named who he believes really funded the Jeffrey Epstein crimes. And it wasn't Epstein. What he said is guaranteed to make a few people upset in Washington, and there is no taking it back now. So let's not waste any time. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Let us know in the comment section what you think and share it with a friend. Let's get right to it. On Tuesday, Tucker Carlson delivered two theories on why Pam Bundy won't release the Epstein files. The theory one is that Trump is involved, but Carlson thought this explanation was not very likely, and I don't think so either because, again, if that was the case, the Democrats would have used this already to not let Trump become president. Pretty simple. They had access to these files, and they also didn't release them, by the way. So people want to just jump on the MAGA side, on the Republican side of things, but they actually never questioned the Democrats who were in office when they had the files and they could have easily released them. Now, there's a reason why these two Democrats, along with conservatives, Republicans, are not releasing these files. What is the reason? I highly doubt that is because of Trump. Now, Carlson came up with theory two, which was that he believed that the U.S. and the Israelis are being protected. That there's something to do with Israel. He said, I think that seems like the most plausible explanation. Let's take a look.
Logically, they're covering up, the DOJ, the current DOJ under Pam Bondi is covering up crimes. Very serious crimes by their own description. Mm-hmm. Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
So there are really only two potential explanations that I can think of. Maybe you've got another. The first is that Trump is involved, that, Trump is on the list, that they've got tape of Trump doing something awful. I don't believe that for two reasons. One, I've talked to Trump about it a lot, and I know him. He's not that, for whatever his sins, I don't think he's that guy, actually. I don't think he likes creepy sex stuff. That's just my view. But more, I think, convincing is that this is all information that the Biden administration had. And if there was evidence that Trump had been involved in illegal sexual activity, you think the people who made up Russiagate wouldn't have leaked it?
Right.
Come on now. So the only other explanation that I can think of, again, maybe you've got another, is that intel services are at the very center of this story, U.S. and Israeli, and they're being protected. I think that seems like the most plausible.
That's the most obvious. I have a history of this. There have been multiple documented cases of pedophilia inside of the CIA perpetrated by CIA officers, documented that in many of those cases, I believe over a dozen cases, this was a BuzzFeed news piece years back, where the CIA specifically did not want to prosecute those individuals in federal court for fear that they would reveal sources and methods if they were pulled into open court, and they basically just made it go away. The only time they actually prosecuted somebody for child pornography was whenever he'd already being prosecuted for mishandling classified information.
Well, when they want to crush you, they put kiddie porn in your computer. It's why I don't have a computer. Don't own one.
Yeah, if you're an important person, you should be careful.
No computer in my house.
This is an important thing, though, is that we already have documented cases of them covering this up. With, I believe the CIA Inspector General, I forget the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, you wouldn't even believe the amount of child porn, that I've seen while I'm on.
Now, Friday night, while speaking in front of a live audience and at Turning Point USA, an event in Tampa, Florida, Carlson came to a conclusion. He boldly said that he believes foreign intelligence was behind the Epstein blackmail operation. But which country? Well, spoiler alert, it would have to be Israel. He confidently asserted that if they were involved, they must have also bankrolled his crimes. He was quoted saying, I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. He also said that we have every right to ask whose behalf was he working on. And how does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, private island, and largest residential house in Manhattan? So we're going to get into the clip of what he said. But he does have a good point. And to be fair, if Epstein was working, who was he working for? We don't know anything about that particular case. Now, there's his lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. He went on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and he said that when he represented him, he could have gotten him a lenient punishment. I think the first one that he got was a sweetheart deal, which was very lenient anyway. He could have gotten an easier deal if he obviously was part of the government. He said, look, this guy is part of the government. We can't prosecute him. This is what he said. But Epstein never came up with any conversation like that. Now, he did say as well that he started going to Israel. He started having connections and buying houses, etc., after he had represented him. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But let's go and listen to what Tucker Carlson said on the Turning Point USA event.
I think the truth, for whatever it's worth, in case you're interested, is that the DOJ didn't release lots of incriminating sex videos with Epstein and his billionaire pals because they don't have them. They don't have them because when the original search warrant was served 2007, I think, possibly 2006, I think 7, it was basically designed to protect Epstein. The search warrant was written in such a way to make sure that the feds never got their hands on the actually incriminating evidence. It's another way of saying the cover-up has been going on since 2007, almost 20 years. And so the real question is not, was Jeffrey Epstein a weirdo who was abusing girls? Yes, we can answer that. The real question is, why was he doing this, on whose behalf, and where did the money come from? And those are the questions that need to be answered. And I think it's entirely fair to ask them. And it's not adequate to say anyone who asked them is somehow desecrating the memory of little girls who died in Texas. I'm not going to put up with that answer. I don't care who gives that answer. That is not acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that.
Now, someone who agrees with Carlson's assessment is CIA whistleblower John Kirikou. On Wednesday, he told a story of the recruitment of a copy machine repairman who earned his CIA operational officer a big promotion. At first, Kirikou laughed at the notion that a copy machine repairman being useful, but then he realized the brilliance of the plan when he learned that the repairman secretly sent every document from a prime minister's office straight to the CIA. Now, he said what Epstein was to Israeli intelligence, someone with access, like that copy machine repairman, who quietly delivered leverage on the world's elite.
I had a trainer, one of my operational trainers, who told us when we were going through the process that the best recruitment he ever made was a copy machine repairman. And I laughed when he said it. And he said, no, I'm serious. Hear me out. He said, all of us want to recruit the prime minister. We're not going to recruit the prime minister. We're not even going to have access to the prime minister. But the prime minister's got a copy machine in his office. And every once in a while, that machine is going to need to be cleaned and serviced. So you recruit the copy machine repairman. And when he goes in there to make his repair or to clean the drums or whatever, he installs a little device that we give him so that every time somebody makes a copy, it transmits a copy back to the CIA. He said, I got a promotion, I got a medal, I got a photo op with the director. It made my career. Because every sheet of paper that went through that prime minister's office went straight to the CIA.
One little chip was doing that.
That's it.
So now, how do you use? So what do you do with those assets now you're getting? You know what the communication is. You know what they're thinking about. You know what their next move is. You know who their enemy is. You know who their ally is.
Exactly. Maybe it's what their position's going to be on trade negotiations. Maybe it's, the prime minister's got some kind of health problem that you need to know about for planning purposes. You never know. You never know what's going to pop. Maybe it's just, spam, or it's a rent-a-car application or stupid stuff you just throw out in the shredder or in the burn bag. But, that one nugget might come through. And I think that's what Jeffrey Epstein was.
Wow. Interesting. Have you ever heard that? It's movie-like stuff. And listen, I tend to believe it. The question still remains, why would a government bring this upon themselves? All of those files of him being an asset, whoever he may have been working for the CIA, to spy who? Israel? Okay, they're one of our closest allies, almost to our own detriment at times. So why would be the intelligence there? We're trying to, I would get it if you, I don't know, if you happen to have to be a mole for Iran or for any of those countries that actually, Russia, North Korea, which would be pretty impossible, really. But Israel, okay, I guess it could work. But the fact of the matter is, why not get rid of all the evidence? He's dead. He's not going to speak anymore. So why not just get rid of all the evidence and still release his criminal record and everything that relates to his criminal activities? He's not here to defend himself. But why would the government put that on themselves to not release anything and cause mayhem? It still doesn't make sense. Let's go back to Tucker Carlson. He addressed the claims that he's taking money from the Qatari government head on. Laura Loomer has been one of the people that have been calling them out on taking money from Qatar. What was his reaction on this claim? He literally laughed out loud. He was quoted saying, "Maybe I was taking tons of money from some bad country." Let's take a watch of what he said.
And maybe I was like taking tons of money from some bad country, one of the bad countries you're not allowed to talk about or like. Qatar! That's the most hilarious. Qatar is kind of controlling our conversation. Qatar. Evil Qatar. I am laughing. I've actually been to Qatar. It's awesome. Never taken a dollar from the Qataris or the Qataris or whatever they're called. It's a great country. But whatever. But even if I was like on the payroll of Qatar, which I guess I can't now. But anyway, even if I was, it still wouldn't make the question any less relevant. Why is this a good idea? And their refusal to answer that question lets you know right away that you are not dealing with a person of good faith. You're dealing with a propagandist who is trying to control you.
So there you go. What's your take on what Carlson said about the Israeli intelligence? Is he exposing an uncomfortable truth that nobody really wants to talk about, that the U.S. doesn't want to get involved with, or is he changing attention for controversy? Megyn Kelly has been accused of that. Others have been accused of it as well. And quite honestly, here's my take on this whole situation. I do believe the DOJ. I do believe that they have found what they said they found. The ultimate problem is that there might be something behind the scenes of the Tucker Carlson conspiracy theory. Some of that may be the truth. But what also could be the truth is what Trump has been rumored to have said to his people surrounding him, that if he was able to release this stuff, that he would condemn people that are, as far as we know, innocent until proven guilty. Like anybody that's on that plane, anybody that's been in contact with Epstein will be crucified to death. And we know that because of the opinion, the public opinion is brutal, and it could end careers. That's what I have heard throughout gathering information, that Trump believes that if he releases this information, it will destroy careers. Now, can we ask the American folks, is it really that irrelevant? Is it really that important to withdraw information, withdraw the truth? But also at the same time, is it really that important to care what the information is? We know who was raping these kids, these young people. He is dead, more than likely in hell. Rotting in hell right now. Is it really that important right now? I do agree with Trump in a sense that at the end of the day, this is not as important is what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Israel and Palestine, what's going on in the United States of America with ICE, with immigration, with the cost of living, the economy overall. And it begs the question, do people really think this is important? Do people really think that, do the American people really care about the Epstein files? Is the biggest question. My answer to that is, the vast majority of people that voted for Trump do not give a toss about the Epstein file. It is a vanity topic. It is a topic of podcasters. It is a topic of people on YouTube, people on Rumble, people on TikTok, conspiracy theories. Tucker Carlson, as much as I appreciate and I honor that he's been a really big influence, he still is, along with Megyn Kelly, along with many other people, it is a topic for them and their audiences, even this podcast. But at the end of the day, the regular Joe that's waking up at 5, 6 in the morning to go pour concrete, to go build a house, to go mow yards, to go farm, is really not interested, couldn't give a damn. Right now, as we speak, they're sleeping to wake up early in the morning to go to work. It really doesn't affect the American people. The Epstein files do not affect the regular American people. This only matters to the people that, you know, it's a hot topic, just like the P. Diddy trial. Do people really wake up and say, oh my God, I can't go to work now because P. Diddy might not get sent to prison for the rest of his life? Do people really believe that? No. People voted for Trump mainly because of the economy and common sense, because they wanted to keep natural men out of women's bathrooms, because they wanted security with the border, because they wanted to afford eggs, bacon, chicken, not because of Jeffrey Epstein, who's been dead for a long time. That is the bottom line. And that is your Veteran Uncensored. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, smash that like button, share, and of course, comment below. I will see you on the next one.